taking risks, big risks that, of course, can impact your financial future, your family, and more, just like Carrie did with AST. Dr. Nick joins us this morning to let us know how we need to prepare ourselves to make such a risk. If you have that burning desire or that burning idea, good to see you.
Good to see you too. And most of us do have several burning fires in us.
Good point.
That we would like to light. So we have to kind of be careful that we're not going to go after everything that our heart maybe desires.
Sure.
And that's okay.
Sure.
That's
and
okay.
But you know,
there's something.
When you have this thirst and this drive, and yet there's so much at stake. Are there ways to do it slowly or gently?
Well, it's almost a kind of you can dive in to the deep end,
yeah.
Immediately, or you can kind of shallow your way towards the deep end. And I think either one would be acceptable. You have to kind of play with your temperament.
Okay.
And see, what's most natural for you. I myself am a little bit more prone to kind of jump in and kind of learn while I'm taking the risk of something, because I think that makes it fun. Yeah. But it is important to understand that we have to gauge risk accordingly. There does have to be some understanding of, if I don't make it, will I be okay? Will my family be okay?
Sure.
That is kind of a calculated, if you will.
Okay.
Calculated risk. But it's also important to say that I think this is true, there is a tendency and a propensity in our society to say, at this certain age, you should be here, and you should be settled, and you should be just kind of done. And I think that's a real fallacy that we have to fight. At any time in life, just as with this story you just did, there was a decision to change course and take this risk.
Yeah, when his dad said, I don't think you should, when his wife said he didn't think it
right.
could.
You're going to hear naysayers.
Right.
You're going to hear naysayers. And that is part of, I think, the tendency to say, well, I didn't do it, so you shouldn't do it. And, there's a jealousy. There's a little jealousy of that. I'm not saying that his father was just filled with fear. He just didn't want him to fail, and he didn't want him to and yet I think part of the problem is that we ought to teach our children that it's okay to fail every once in a while. Fail on small things, and then you'll understand that failure is not going to be the best of you.
What makes some people risk takers and some not, Nikki?
I think the essential ingredient to taking the risk is being more driven to achieve than being driven by fear. We go back to that fear catch-all. If it's fear that's motivating us, Whitney, we're doomed. Okay. But if it's that desire to kind of achieve, and we don't care how many times we fail at it or how long it takes to get there, you think of the show and what you've put into the show, and think of the risks you've taken with the show. Didn't you just take one recently?
I did.
A purchase of something.
I bought a drone, a nice one, and I was so excited.
Well, and that's risky. Because risky. You probably don't know anything about drones. And that's not a very inexpensive investment.
Oh, people that I know who have them, who are in the TV world, they've sunk so many. They've lost them in the water. They've lost them in trees. So I know, you could have $1,000 investment that's just gone. And so.
But the risk is not just in the financial investment. It's now learning how to operate it, making sure you use it efficiently. Right. That there's a payoff to it. There's a lot involved in risk.
Gotcha. And 48 hours later, I got it set 50 feet up in a tree with a rain cloud coming. And I was almost kicking myself. Like, why did I do that? I knew it was risky, but you're right. I wanted it. And by golly, that thing came tumbling down with the help of a lovely, big stick and a nice man who had one. In the professional world, and we were able to fix it. And
I think along with that, Whitney, and there's where risk is tied in with perseverance and persistence. It's an attitude of, I got this.
How do we all have more of that?
I got this. Huh?
How do we all have more of that?
I don't care that it's sitting up in a tree. I'll get to it somehow. I'll get it back working somehow. There's got to be a way. There's, again, I think we do it again by taking small risks. And again, I like jumping in, but I think taking small risks, we become more motivated to say, well, I've done this before. Isn't that what came out of you? Like, I've been here before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been here before. This is not my first rodeo with something that's not going right.
Sure. And you know what I really did? I bought some little toy drones. You know, probably for over the last 8 months, and I've been kind of playing them. I've got
Okay, well, there's a
70-second
perfect
trees.
example of how you started off without spending a fortune.
Yes.
Learning a
I
little
had a
bit
lot
how
of
to
those
do
in
it.
trees. Some never came out, but but yeah, I was going to climb the tree to get it until it was a cypress tree, and some of the branches were like little bitty. I'm
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I'm bigger than that.
Yeah. But let's if I may, let's take advantage
Okay.
of the situation in our fair city.
Okay.
When disaster strikes, there's your greatest opportunity to take a risk.
You're right.
When you've lost so much, there's an opportunity to stretch, to expand. I don't have as much to lose. What is my life about? Where have I been going? Where might I go differently? Don't you think that's a grand opportunity?
It really is.
Now may be the time to take that risk that you've always wanted to take. You're looking at me like, you know it's real.
Yeah.
This is where we take advantage of the crisis, that dangerous opportunity. Where am I going? Where have I been? Now may be the time. When it happened, I thought,
Somebody who's always wanted to work on a cruise ship. You know, you got a good 6 months.
I thought I want to go sing in Vegas. I could probably sell my condo now. Go and really,
and bartend on the beach.
And bartend on the beach. You could be the hostess. We're laughing, but isn't it real? Risk sometimes is its greatest potential when there is a crisis.
That's right.
Which is what we're going through.
Sure. Look for the open door. Look for the open
Look
window.
for the open door.
Look
yes.
for that thing you've always wanted to do.
And let's make sure that our viewers at home know that it's now working.
Oh, it is working.
The drone is now out of the tree.
It is.
It has been kissed and hovered over and loved on. And
Yes. And I will, I was careful at the moment, but there's a learning process. In fact, hey, we'll close out with a shot of it.
Close out. I want to see how it works.
All right, we'll show everybody.
You are such the risk taker. I just love it. And but real quick before we go, part of the desire for the risk is also the desire to learn and discover and keep growing.
Wow.
Let us never forget that with risk.
You're right,
either.
because I said to Kim, as we were trying to repair this, I'm like, look, even if this one's not salvageable, we'll know more about the next one if
Exactly.
we have an incident
and there's
like
the
this.
attitude.
And there it is.
There's the attitude. Instead of I'm fearful, I'll never touch another one. Well, let's learn as much as we can from this.
Yeah, great. All right, hey, we'll leave you with that drone shot. Great to see you.
I can't wait to see it. Are they going to get? Is it going to get the good shot?
We'll see. They'll see. Much more of Weekends with Whitney coming up
After the
this.
drone. The drone flies around.